on this. Welcome, everyone. It is Sandra Alexa here today, and happy solstice today, and happy new moon on December the 23rd. And I have a very, very exciting guest here today, but I just want to go through the main things here. Your solstice is today, you're consciously to link awareness to nature's cycles. Okay, that's really important. It's all about natural cycles. And the bottom line is we're going within, and in the spring, then everything starts to open up. That's when we see the trees. So take this time to do this work. Okay. Basically, I'm an author, an educator, a business and spiritual coach, all about self-discovery. And what's really interesting, this is my book called Game Changer. Okay. So if you go to the top right, it's about the new model of relationships. It's very Aquarian. Okay. Now, if you go to the underneath in the show me section, you'll find my website. And there it tells you all the services and everything that I do. Okay. Some of the other books I have written, and I'm going to be moving more into the healing, and I will tell you why. Okay. This is Spa and Salon Alchemy. It's about building spas. And this one is the different procedures, and it's all alchemy. And so I have worked in that arena internationally, setting them up, and it was always about healing. And it's interesting, is like I've had challenges with my health. In 1988, I had a near-death experience. I was told I would be in a wheelchair in 5 years, and not to worry, I had long-term disability. Where did I go? I did the regular medicine didn't help me. I went to a Dr. Stephen Ong for acupuncture, and I did the Ayurvedic medicine, and I was healed. Okay. So now, given what's happening in my chart, okay, again, I've been having trouble with my health. And so the universe always brings the right person to me. Okay. And so I've been working with Matthew on the gene keys, Matthew Ashdown. Okay. And I met this wonderful, wonderful lady, Jessica. Okay. And what we did was I had a session, and I really believe in sound healing. And I want to tell you, and I just told her, as a muse, because I'm known as a muse, I have now endorsed you. And whether people like it or not, I don't care, because I'm not into spiritual bypassing. People that know me know I have to speak my truth. The last few years, what I've seen, somebody takes a course in astrology, they're an astrologer and they know what they're doing. Somebody takes a course in tuning forks, or they're a Reiki master, and they are. Anything you do in life, it's like an apprenticeship program. We have the theory, and then we have the practical work, and we have to blend the two. And it's not for everybody. Okay. My background is cosmetology, is hair, is aesthetics. And I taught it. Not everybody can cut hair. Maybe they're going to be a great cook. Okay. And that's part of the self-discovery process, is what is your mission or purpose? This lady is a true healer. And today we're going to talk about sound healing, and we have other sessions that we'll do. You can talk about it. And I've had my session with her for 2 years. I spent thousands of dollars seeing everybody, physiotherapist, acupuncture, massage therapist, whatever. And I finally got some pain relief. And we're understanding what we're doing with this new method of healing that she's been using. Because I identified what it really was with my doctor, and now we have something that we can work on. So we're going to stop yapping right now, and I want to introduce you, Jessica, and tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Laurie, And my website is Alchemical Treasure Maps. On it, you will find not only sound healing, but as well as tarot. Um, One of the things that is incredible about sound healing is its capacity to relax the body and really help the person who's receiving it to bring in that body awareness. Tuning forks is absolutely my favorite healing modality. It is something that I started using originally for myself. I've had issues on my left side of the body from childhood, and similar to Sandra in the sense that doctors were like, no, this is going to happen to you. And I just didn't believe it. I didn't feel like that was my truth, as well as being on this path of kind of like, okay, what can I do? Because when somebody else says something and you're not aligned with what's said to you, then you're in this spot of exploring what is a personal truth. And I had to really be aware of what my pain body was telling me. And then it's one of the things that I learned along the way was how to tone the body. And tuning forks are fantastic for that body toning. Another piece of the process and learning about tuning forks and what worked for me and what I've also learned works for many other people is that it's much more gentle than acupuncture. Sometimes when an acupuncture point can go in, but if it's got like blocked energy there, it can actually be really painful. Whereas with tuning forks, because there's no like direct puncture of the skin, it's just gently placed on the body. It's way more gentle, and it has this ability, especially if the fork is weighted, like this one, it's weighted at the top. Its vibrations will spread through the body and work on the fascia, which of course is connected to the pain body. So there are many wonderful healing components with tuning forks, as well as using sound healing in this way. And it's my absolute joy to bring it forward and share this knowledge and wisdom and years of practice with others.
Yeah, years of practice and how you got it. Another thing that I was really impressed with, and you have to remember, everybody, I met on a doing a Zoom class with you. And then I was interested, so I contacted her. So it's really fate, it's really kismet, which is a lot of what my life is about. Okay. But one of the things I really found interesting, you sent me a pre um, what do you call it, document to fill in, number one. And then she sent me a post, which was afterwards, of the different things that I needed to do. Okay. And what I found is because of what I'm going through, I have to be really cognizant and really aware. So I really appreciated that I actually had a copy and it said, this is what you do. These are the kind of exercises you do. This is what you're going to do for 10 days. And this is what you're going to take. And so I really appreciated that. And so I think that comes with your training and how you got to become what you are. You're called a practicing.
Yeah, I'm a sound healing practitioner. I also have a background in education. I am a certified teacher as well as an adult educator. So there's been many years of practicing in the sense of low learning component and then moving on to teaching. And that's one of the ways where learning about tuning forks, becoming a sound healing practitioner, and then being able to utilize that learning in a way that not only helps the body, but can then provide the follow through and the instructions of care that are appropriate for the individual and how their body is talking to them.
Yeah. So it's really an individual thing. And I'm really, anybody that knows me knows. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of business people will say to me, you're like a detective. If I find something that I'm really passionate and I believe in, I have to really look into it. Okay. And the same with the person I'm going to work for or work with. Okay. Because there's two things that are important to me. The first one is my time, and I'm not going to waste it. And the second thing is my health. Okay. Those are my priorities in life. And I think a lot of people right now, a lot of people are suffering. This is my personal thing with the readings I do and looking at what's happening in the world. They're dealing with a lot of trauma. And that trauma is not just emotional trauma, but that emotional trauma moves to the body. Okay. And so, and the body, like my body, is just trying to give me a message. It's saying, Sandra, you need to look at something in your life. And there is an emotional component to the physical. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so sometimes we can talk it through. You can go to a counselor and you can, like Carl Jung used astrology because I'm an astrologer. And he said you could go to a physiotherapist, or not physiotherapist, a psychiatrist for 5 years. And he said he could read somebody's chart and he could kind of find out what was happening with them within a few sessions. Okay. And I believe I believe in you and I believe in the practice. And we're going to do some more on it because we'll talk to them about them. I'm not sure how you say it. The Schumann resonance, first of all. And we're going to talk about the sulfrago frequencies. And I will share this. When I was going to university, I went as an adult student and I was very busy. I had a lot going on in my life. And in order to, and I studied it, and even in my book, I talked about healing modalities. And the book, there's a book called The Mozart Effect, okay, that was very good. And so I would play Bach music because it grounded me. And so it gave me a lot more clarity. So there's a lot of things going on. So I think this is the first one that I wanted to share you. I wanted to share you and your healing gifts. Okay. Because I think the world needs that. And I'm going to say right now, I told you, as far as I'm concerned, we met at the right time because I'm just doing an astrology thing off for 2023. And I think I said it was March that we have Saturn that moves into Pisces. And that is just going to explode, okay, the natural healing because everybody's going away from the pharmaceutical. Okay, we're going back to the ancient methods. Okay.
That is so true. This is an ancient method.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it was funny you mentioned that too, because last night I was watching a video on how the Egyptians developed healing chambers where they
Yes.
used sound frequencies to help heal the body. And they could tell how the body was incorporating that sound because the resonance would change within the chamber.
Right. Right. And so it's resonance. And so we'll talk about resonance and we can talk about frequency and we'll wait for another one to do that. Resonance frequency, you can remember this here. And because the next thing that's so important is that the med beds are coming out and I've been following the med beds for 6 years. So we're going into a whole new sphere of healing. But this one, I believe, and like I've tried many things. I've tried just about everything, okay? And I've lived abroad and worked with many different healers, okay? And can you show how you hit it and the sound it makes or not?
Yeah. So
This is what I find really fascinating because I'm very much into the sound healing and that type of thing.
one of my favorite forks is this one. It's 111 hertz, and this fork is weighted because it's got the weights at the top, so it'll vibrate for longer. I especially love this fork because it's frequency is beneficial for cellular regeneration. So if anybody has been sick or been kind of going through a rough time in their body, this fork is absolutely fantastic for them. You're comfortable with me sharing this, I can say this is a fork that was also used as
Yeah,
part of your session as
right.
well.
Yeah.
And I would strike it just on the side here below the weights. And of course, listening to the person's body and what amount of touch is comfortable with them. Say if they've been having any breathing issues, we could tone the chest here, and I could move it along the sternum. I could move it by the collarbone. And there would be some guided breathing techniques, continually checking in with the person. How does that feel? Because there's a lot of fascia all around the body. And when we talk about the pain body, when the fascia is tight, it'll hold those muscles tight too. It can feel difficult or harder to take a breath. If a person has had any chest conditions, whether that be upper body trauma or like lung concerns, this fork is absolutely fantastic for that. I highly recommend it.
Oh, I just want to say something. For everybody wearing all those masks, they're going to have some challenges with their lungs. And they can go and look at the research. I'm just going to say that to them. So they should be looking.
The next fork I'd like to bring in is my lung fork.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you perfectly timed it and let us in. And I like doing a guided meditation while playing this one. Um, so I'll give an example of how I would play it over here. And I would start kind of like from the face down the throat, because we of course have our trachea, and then it moves into the bronchioles. And I would talk about the lobes of the lungs and how a person would like their lungs to feel, how
Right.
that is of breathing, and talk about too in the lungs the sense that how great they are at pulling in oxygen and then moving that carbon dioxide and those toxins out with the exhale. So I'm
I
then
want that
finding,
one too. I want that
pardon?
one too. I want that one too.
Oh,
It
these are very powerful forks.
Well, you know, that's what I want to say. They're very powerful and they're not something to be played with, because a lot of people will just get them, they'll play with them themselves and they think they're doing it. And I'm telling you right now, with all the years of my experience, and I've been blessed to work with some of the best healers and develop some of the most beautiful healing spas, is you don't fool around with that. Okay. And when you're talking about the fascia, I don't know if you remember Rolfing, but years and years ago, Ida Rolf, I've written it in my first book, they actually tore the fascia. I actually had a treatment with it, with somebody. And so that whole idea of that fascia, and I feel that in my hamstrings and down here, is it's really tight. And so that tightness affects my back and my hip. It's all related. Okay. And so, yeah.
That's one of the biggest parts too, and I'll speak to this in the sense of my own journey, especially being with the pain body, is finding how
The trigger
to. This
point.
is the Trigger Point Therapy book, and this book has been a game changer for myself too in my own healing process, and that and Peter Dedman's Manual for Acupuncture. And it provided me with a lot of insight too on the fork placement,
Right.
specifically for the muscles and the fascia, talking to the pain body and providing the right amount of vibration to release.
Right. Okay. And yeah, so that's the whole thing, is just, and because I've done a lot of work with Dr. Stephen Ung and different acupuncturists, okay, is I believe that some of the trauma and some of the pain is energy that's congested.
Oh, yeah.
And because we're energy beings, we need to have our energy flowing. Okay. So I look at it not in the terms that you do. All I want to say is beware and especially even with Reiki, because it took years for some people, and there's some Reiki masters that are good. And actually, I worked with many different spa people, and one spa that I worked with, they had over 200 staff. So I was kind of the head of their people and marketing and that. But the owner would send me to his massage therapist to get the feeling of me. And so some I'd go in, I would undress, I'd get on the table, then they'd come in and they'd go to touch me, and I'd get out. I could sense their energy. Okay. And I can remember sending my daughter when after she had a baby, her first child, I think, I gave her a gift certificate, and she was a massage therapist. But so she went for it, and the woman started talking to her right away. Shut up. Okay. And then another friend of mine that owns a big spa, and he phoned me because he worked with me before. I was the manager, and he was one of the, and he's got a beautiful, beautiful spa. I won't say the name, but he phoned me and he said, I have to thank you because you were so tough on me. Because he said, I can't believe my staff. He has hairstyling and spa put together. And so one of his clients phoned him and said he had cut her hair, and she made an appointment to have a massage. She had never tried a lot of that. Okay. And she phoned him and she said, I don't think I can even come back to you to get my hair done, because she said it was really bad. Now imagine this. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Massage therapists come in and said, oh my goodness, I hear you're a counselor. So I need to tell you, like, my boyfriend's like a math head and whatever. And she didn't say anything. I would have said, ouch. Okay. Then another man that didn't believe me, he said, you're too tough on the body workers. I used to call them body workers, body practitioners. Mm-hmm. He went, and I said to him, you're having a massage with this woman. Where's her resume? What has she done? What kind of, well, he said no. Anyway, he went and had it, and he come down from his place, and he was like this. Honestly, he was just, you can imagine, he was so out of sync. And he said, I'm so sick. I had to phone one of our top massage therapists and said, I know it's your day off. You're the only one I know that can finally kind of center him again. So it's nothing to fool around with, because we're finally realizing that we are energy beings. Okay. And so what we're going to do is, anything else you want to share, or like what I'm going to get is all your stats and put them in the hashtag so people can get a hold of you. The next session I would like to do is on frequency and resonance. And we'll bring in the Schumann.
Resonance. Yep, we can talk about that.
We can talk about that. And at that day, we can tell them what the Schumann resonance is. We'll tell them what it is and how we measure it. Okay. And then the next thing we'll do is the Solfego. The Solfego music, the different frequencies, and that one that they use to control the mind. There's one. It's a bad one. The one.
Well, and there's so many different pieces to those topics, and it's like pulling back the layers of an onion, which I love talking about. This stuff gets me so fired up. So I'm excited for your audience to dive into this with us. It is an incredibly important topic, especially right now, as we're finding out more and more about how frequency and the body is toned. I think this is ancient tools of healing that are now becoming more accessible. And I'm happy to bring this forward with you, Sandra, Alexa.
Yeah.
And for your viewers, and just for more people around the world. Let's keep talking about this.
We're gonna have fun with it. And I think it's it's always kismet. And I wasn't even going to go on that night with Matthew, and I went on, and you and I got into the breakout room, and it was just like there was a connection, and I just knew. And then when I went for my treatment, and afterwards, it was just like, Oh my God. My son even said, my ankle, he said, look at how you're walking. Because like you said, my ankle was totally inflamed.
Was very puffed up. And even you, like as you said, you were talking about your balance too. So
Right.
if
And
seeing
so
those
I'm feeling so much better. Okay. And I'm all excited about like, yay, 2023. And I'm going to write about it and it's going to shock everybody. There's going to be a lot of turmoil yet, but everything is going to explode. And the truth, and it's about cleansing. It's similar to how we cleanse our body. And we are all finishing off the enslavement codes, the different karmic codes that have been around for years. And so it's just wonderful.
well, I even have a very specific tuning fork set, and it's for the DNA upgrades.
Oh my God, because we're going through the ascension process. So that will be
Right.
another one. So you can write these down or I'll write them down. What we're going to talk about is how we we are moving we're moving into the enlightenment era. And that's the Aquarian era. And that Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is a higher consciousness, which is it's like lightning. Okay.
Mm.
And so the bottom line is we're moving into all of this newness. Okay. And that DNA, and they say the DNA is shifting. It is going crystalline. Okay. And we're raising from third dimension to fifth dimension to seventh dimension, some stuck in the fourth dimension. But that can be a session itself. And then you can show us those forks.
Absolutely. And one of the beautiful pieces around that is to help it bring ease in the body while they're moving through that process. And so,
You know, yeah, because a lot of what I'm going through is probably the ascension process
it,
because we can have a lot of pain with it. I'm reading about it all the time. A lot of pain, a lot of tiredness, so it's a multitude of things. But you can assess and you work with the right tuning forks. That's your gift.
absolutely. And it's all kind of recognizing that multi-dimensionality. You know, we are multi-dimensional beings. And as
Right.
we embody more of that, we can, of course, raise the frequencies. And when we raise our frequencies, it's easier to tap into those higher dimension of realities.
Right. And guess what? When you raise your frequency, your ability to attract. I worked with what's the gal for the law of attraction? Her and her husband. He's passed away when he was in Edmonton.
Esther Hicks.
Esther, exactly. I worked with her actually at the Mayfield Inn.
Wow.
Okay, that was like years ago. Okay, and so yeah, and that's what she says. We have to allow it, but we have to raise our because everybody goes, I want, I intend, I invoke, I whatever. But you're invoking and you're not ready because you're not energetically suited to bring that in your life.
It's a matching process, right?
Right,
And
that's what the resonance is.
it definitely helps. And there's a whole piece too around how the body regenerates itself too.
Right.
When we have a frequency that it's not only an attractor, matches what we would like to have in our life, our body has an actual response to that. And of course, you want it to be in the pleasure sense way, not a pain sense. So we've got to help shift those pain energy responses that are stored in the body, to then free up that space for that greatness of how you would like to feel and attract in your life.
You came into my life at the perfect time. Because I have to tell you, we have something called we have the nodal positions, and we're going right through now a north node in Taurus, okay, which is about practicality, the body, earth, grounding, that type of thing. South node in Scorpio. I've been writing about it. But it changes it goes for 18 months, and we don't get back to that for 18 years. So in January of 2020, we did the North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio, which I have in my natal chart. So because I have it, I'm having what we call a nodal return, which means the angels are with me for 18 months. And so from January until July, okay, and then it shifts, then it changes, okay, and I'll be talking about that in my 2023 thing too. But the bottom line is, you came into my life at a perfect time so that I can access and be ready for what I need. Does that make sense? Like I'm really, and I never complain. I will never complain. I've had lots of pain in my life and lots of things happen. And to me, it's just a part. It's just a message. It's a message and it's a lesson. And if I whine about it, it don't help. I have to say, what is this all about? And who can I find to assist me? Because I know I can assist people with their stuff. So we can close it off. Anything you have to say, but we're going to do more. You put some things, and I'm going to get you to send me an email with all of the stuff so I know exactly what. And contact.
Yes. So you can find me at atmaps.org for either sound healing or other modalities that I tap into. What else?
Phone number.
604-619-2997. And I did just put on my YouTube channel an oxygenation mix. So if you want to have a tester of what it would be like, it is a recording. It's not quite the same as having the tuning forks exactly on the body, but there are some guided touch, safe touch invitations so that a person can just get a little taste of what that feeling is like. So you can find that again on YouTube, Chemical Treasure Maps. Type that in and it'll pop up for you.
Okay, I'm going to try that for sure. And I want to get the phone number again because you are in Edmonton, Alberta. So it's a BC, yes. It's a 604.
604-619-2997. Yeah, I haven't quite made the switch yet.
No, well, I've got
Edmonton for a while.
Oh my God, I don't know what happened.
That's okay.
Oh my God. Anyway, I'm going to stop the recording. I can't find it. I can't find it. Okay. Okay, just wait. I'm going to stop. I have to